I got a feeling about Jacksonville this year. They don't talk loud, they don't dominate the headlines, they don't flood your timeline or beg for attention. But somehow, some way, the Jacksonville Jaguars keep showing up in every conversation that actually matters. A team that's already taken its lumps, already felt the embarrassment, already endured the jokes, the memes, the same old Jaguars chants. And now they're becoming the sort of team you don't realize is terrifying until it's too late. This is not the same Jacksonville franchise you grew up laughing at. And the craziest part, they've done all this quietly. No drama, no distractions, just football. This is why the Jacksonville Jaguars are quietly becoming a problem. If Trevor Lawrence played in Dallas, we'd never hear the end of it. If he played in New York, he'd be on every billboard in Manhattan. If he played in Chicago, Philly, or Vegas, he'd already be an MVP finalist in the eyes of the media. But he plays in Jacksonville, and because of that, people forget what he actually is. A top-tier quarterback who's weathered more adversity in 3 years than most QBs face in a decade. But the real story isn't that he's still standing, it's how much better he's actually become. Trevor isn't just talented, he's refined. He understands the NFL better now. Disciplined, more comfortable in chaos, more willing to take over games, more willing to be the reason they win. His processing got faster, his pocket presence calmer. His accuracy, especially in tight windows, jumped another tier. And for the first time, Jacksonville isn't hoping he becomes a superstar. They're planning around the fact that he is one. The league thinks Jacksonville is solid, but solid isn't the word for a quarterback this gifted, who's finally surrounded by structure, weapons, protection, and an identity. The Jaguars have their guy, and almost no one is talking about how terrifying that is. Let's be very clear. Travis Etienne is an elite running back. He's a mismatch nightmare, a big play waiting to happen. Etienne isn't just speed, he's become complete. His vision improved, his patience improved. His pass protection, which used to hold him back, finally caught up. And the Jaguars stopped treating him like a gadget weapon and more like a true RB1 who can take over games. Etienne has always had juice, but now he has trust. Now he has volume. Now he has an offense designed around maximizing him, not minimizing him. The explosiveness is still there, but now it's paired with consistency, which is exactly what separates highlight players from franchise cornerstones. Jacksonville has both in one guy, and that's a problem for everyone else. A question for Jacksonville this year was at wide receiver. So, what did they do? They went out and got Jakobi Meyers. Meyers is built to thrive in Jacksonville because he brings exactly what their offense has been missing. A reliable, hyper-efficient chain mover who wins with precision and toughness. A receiver who gets open on time, finishes through contact, and rarely makes mistakes. His route discipline pairs perfectly with an offense built on timing, spacing, and versatility. And his ability to play inside or outside gives the Jaguars unmatched flexibility. Add in his underrated red zone production and clutch third down playmaking, and Meyers becomes the kind of steady, high IQ target who elevates an entire passing game on a roster loaded with speed and emerging stars. Meyers is the polished veteran who turns the offense from dangerous into consistent and complete. But this is where the Jaguars actually made one of their biggest leaps. For years, the Jags' offensive line was a problem, an inconsistent mess that alternated between solid enough and we might get our quarterback killed. But this season, something changed. They got younger, they got healthier, they got nastier, and their communication, the thing that ruined them in the past, suddenly became a strength. Trevor Lawrence is seeing cleaner pockets. Etienne is seeing wider lanes. The offense is seeing drives extended, instead of collapsing from penalties and blown assignments. And this is where Jacksonville starts becoming scary. When your quarterback is elite and finally protected, the rest of the league suffers. No one wants to admit it because the Jaguars don't look like a classic powerhouse on the surface. But watch the trenches, they're becoming one. This is the part of the Jaguars nobody talks about, even though it matters most. Their defense is legitimately good, and improving fast. They don't have the loudest names, they don't have the flashiest stars, they don't have the hype machine behind them, but they do have something more dangerous: speed, physicality, organized chaos. This defense closes windows in the secondary faster than most people realize. They swarm to the ball, they create pressure from unexpected angles, they disguise coverages better than last season, and most importantly, they're opportunistic. The type of defense that flips games with one mistake from the offense. When the Jaguars' offense stalls, the defense holds the line. When the offense clicks, the defense turns the game into a snowball. And this is what real playoff teams look like. Not dominating every stat, but dominating the moments that matter. Let's take a second to acknowledge something rare. Jacksonville finally has a coaching staff that isn't chaotic, predictable, overwhelmed, or dysfunctional. The staff is actually good. They're adjusting faster, calling smarter, using Trevor Lawrence correctly, scheming to maximize their players instead of forcing them into rigid roles. Liam Cohen finally has the roster he envisioned. The offense flows, the defense communicates. The situational decisions make sense, and most importantly, the Jaguars finally look like a team, not a collection of pieces. That alone makes them dangerous. So, why isn't anyone talking about them? Simple. Jacksonville doesn't sell drama. They don't melt down publicly. They don't have a diva problem. They don't leak every disagreement to the press. They just work. And in a league obsessed with noise, the quiet teams always get ignored, right until they start beating people. Jacksonville doesn't care about headlines, they care about wins. They care about development. They care about proving people wrong. And that is why they're becoming a problem, a real one. The kind of team that starts the season in the background and ends it ruining someone's playoff run. Now, here's where Jacksonville has a true advantage. Trevor Lawrence is turning into one of the league's best closers, not the QB who puts up crazy stats, not the guy who looks pretty on highlight tapes, even though most times he does, but the guy who makes the right throw when everything is on the line. That's where Trevor has changed the most. He's not flinching on late down pressure looks. He's not forcing throws he would have panicked into a year ago. He's not crumbling when the offense sputters early. He's patient, he's controlled. He's reading defenses late the way elite quarterbacks do, anticipating leverage, baiting safeties, shifting protections, and using his legs as a weapon, not a bailout. The league doesn't realize it yet, but Trevor Lawrence has entered that stage where a defense can play a perfect snap, and he'll still beat you with the one throw you didn't think he'd make. That's how you win in December. That's how you win in January. That's how quarterbacks elevate from talented to terrifying. Trevor is no longer growing into the position, he's mastering it. And with the help of competent coaches, this team can be nasty. Most NFL coaching staffs either get too conservative or too cute. Jacksonville does something rare. They adjust based on what's working, instead of what they want to work. If the run game is there, they lean into it. If the passing game opens up, they attack vertically. If Trevor is cooking, they keep feeding him. If the defense is generating pressure, they turn up the heat. And this flexibility, it's something they didn't have before. The Jaguars coaching staff finally stopped trying to force identity onto the roster. Instead, they build schemes around what their players do best. And that's the mark of a team that's growing up. It's not about being perfect. It's about being adaptable. In a league where everyone copies each other, Jacksonville is quietly crafting a style that blends rhythm with unpredictability. And that balance is exactly what gives them an edge over teams stuck in their own systems. Now, let's be honest, the AFC is a problem. Everyone knows that. But here's the part people aren't acknowledging. The Jags are built to compete. This isn't by accident. This roster wasn't assembled randomly. The Jaguars built a team with answers. Teams that survive the AFC don't need to dominate everyone. They just need to be a bad matchup for the right opponents. Jacksonville is becoming exactly that. This is what separates real contenders from pretenders. Jacksonville isn't hoping to win anymore. They believe they should. Hope is fragile. Belief is dangerous. Hope collapses after a turnover. Belief adjusts and responds. Hope panics when trailing by 10. Belief stays calm and grinds. Hope rides the highs and gets crushed by the lows. Belief stays steady, because belief comes from preparation, from repetition, from resilience. This entire roster plays with a confidence they didn't have a year ago. Not arrogance, not delusion, but certainty. They trust their quarterback. They trust their defense. They trust their coaching. They trust that when the game gets ugly, they can still win. Belief transforms teams. Belief builds contenders. Belief creates problems for the teams who expect you to break. And Jacksonville isn't breaking anymore. Everything Jacksonville has built so far, it's not the peak, it's the foundation. Trevor Lawrence is still ascending. Etienne has another level. The young defenders haven't even hit their primes. The offensive system is still evolving. The roster has room to grow. The coaching staff is settling into its identity. This isn't the Jaguars going all in for one magical season. This is them laying the groundwork for something much bigger. Sustained winning, sustained relevance, sustained danger. The AFC should be nervous because a quiet team that's finally figured out how to build, how to execute, how to win, and how to keep improving is the worst kind of threat. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't coming, they're already here, and they're quietly becoming a problem for the entire league.